other stunt girls, we always joke if we go to a party and someone asks what you do, that you should just say you're a garbage woman, because then there's no questions, right? It's like, oh yeah, no, I'm a garbage woman. And then it's like crickets. Okay. Because now it's like, oh, I'm a professional stunt woman. What? And then it's just the string of questions, but it's just kind of the running joke, because how can you not ask questions? I understand. I get it. Like if I wasn't in the business and I asked someone what they did, I'd be the same way.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got with me Miss Sarah Holden, and she is a stunt woman. So it's so exciting. I'm so happy to, have this opportunity to interview you and hopefully help you out. That's my goal. So
thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Okay, so let me kind of explain how I came across Sarah and what she's got going on. So Sarah posted on Instagram. No, actually it was on Facebook this time.
Yeah. Yep.
On Facebook, that she is a professional stunt woman, and kind of gave a background of what she does. So kind of put that out there right now so everybody can hear it. So you have done Veronica Mars, and so you were the Kristen Bell's double.
Yep.
Chicago Fire PD Upton's double.
Yep.
Fuller House Kimmy Kibler's double. Man of Steel Diane Lane's double. You've been in NCIS New Orleans. Castle as a stunt actor. Scandal. Sons of Anarchy, and as most of the people watching us right now are bikers.
Right, exactly. So you're all going to love that credit.
Right? I mean, the majority of you have probably seen Sons of Anarchy, and CSI Miami, General Hospital as Emma Ryland's double, and in Transformers, you were a stunt driver.
Yes, and that's just a small portion of
I was going to say, I'm sure you've done more. But.
Yeah, I kind of just threw out like honestly, just the credits that came off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But yes, that's a good sampling of my resume. So I appreciate, all of the the list. So yeah, I've been doing it for 11 years. So, it's funny when you start thinking about the credits like early on, like Sons of Anarchy, that seemed like ages ago, because it kind of was.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like that was like maybe 8 years ago, maybe longer. But that was a good one. That was one of my favorite shows to work on. So yeah, to all you bikers out there, such an amazing cast and crew. And I got to do my first laydown, which was awesome. It was great. And a motorcycle chase. Yeah, I should put together something and send it to you so you can post it so people
can put it in. Oh, that would be super cool.
Yeah. So I actually got my motorcycle license about 10 years ago when I was living in Hollywood, and went through the whole course, and I was ready to buy a bike, and I was looking at Sportsters, 883 Sportster. That's what I wanted. And my husband, or my boyfriend, now husband, was really not keen with the fact of me buying my first bike living in Hollywood. And when I say I was living in Hollywood, I was literally off of Hollywood Boulevard. So I don't know how familiar you are with Los Angeles, but there's a lot of traffic and there's a lot of congestion. And he just said, I just don't feel, and by the way, my boyfriend at the time was not living in California. So he was in Nashville pursuing music. I'm in Los Angeles pursuing acting and stunts. I get my motorcycle license. I'm all excited. And he says, I just don't feel comfortable with you buying a bike and learning and getting seat time in Los Angeles. And so then he ended up calling my father. I did not know this. So now I had my boyfriend and my dad basically going, listen, obviously you're a grown ass woman, but we are not comfortable with this. And we really, really want you to rethink this decision. And I did, because I'm thinking, all right, if I, not that I couldn't have done it, but I just felt like all right, I'm going to disappoint them. If something did happen, I just started to feel guilty.
Yeah.
So, fast forward to a couple years, I never got my bike. Now I still rode other friends' bikes and just kind of messed around on them, but I
Like,
never had
hey,
my
I can
own.
ride.
Yeah, but it was mostly in like, empty parking lots, and it just wasn't, and that was fine because I was still getting used to riding. But I never owned my own bike. And then fast forward to a couple years later, I got married. I started having kids, and then the bike thing just fell away, right?
Yes.
It just goes on the
Yes.
back burner. So I now have two kids, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And about 3 years ago, I'm like, okay, this is it. No, it was actually 2 years ago. I am now buying a bike. I relocated, so I have a place in Los Angeles, but my full-time residence is not there. So I'm like, okay, I moved my location. I'm getting a bike. So I started, shopping around, and I wish I was with your Facebook group then, because I would have learned a lot and been like, hey, listen, I'm a really petite woman. I am 5'1.5", and I weigh 105 pounds. So I don't have a lot of, I'm fit and I'm strong, but I was really nervous about what bike to get because I wanted to be flat foot, right?
Oh, we all. that's like
That's the thing. And so I went back and forth. So it started off, all right, I'm getting the Sportster 883. I'm going to get it lowered. Well, I sat on one and I'm like, wow, this is really, really, really heavy. And for my first bike, didn't feel comfortable. Then I went to, I think I'm going to get a Honda Rebel, maybe like a Honda Rebel 450. So I test drove those a little bit, and they were better as far as my comfort. Not a better bike. I'm just saying it with what I felt comfortable with, but it was still pretty heavy for me. And so I ended up getting, you're going to laugh, because my husband's like, you're going to outgrow this thing in 2 months. I know it. I said, I don't care. For me, I want to be comfortable.
Yes.
Because I know that I can always, grow into another bike and upgrade and all of that. So I am in a Kawasaki Z 125.
Okay.
And I'm going to tell you what, it is so much fun.
Yeah.
I feel 100% comfortable. Almost too comfortable, right? But it fits me. It's tiny. I'm tiny. It's great. I understand what my husband meant. Like, I already feel super comfortable where I'm like, okay, well, what's the next bike? And he goes, no, this is what I knew was going to happen. Our garage is not going to be lined up with 5 bikes, right? But I just started learning how to wheelie on it, which is great because now I'm taking some of my stunty stuff. Like I'm hoping to be able to do some small motorcycle stunts. Yeah. Now, there are motorcycle girls in my business that are badass, and they grew up on bikes. I didn't. And I figured, and I'm a mom, and it's like, okay, what skills am I going to start being a mom with 2 kids? Like, not that it can't be done, but I'm like, okay, but if I could just do some skids and, some light wheelies, I would be super stoked. So that's what I'm currently working on right now.
Yeah. Well, you will be ahead of me then, because
What do you ride?
I'm on a 2005 Fat Boy.
Nice.
Yeah. And no doing wheelies on that. Nope, not going to happen.
No. Well, someone told me, they're like, if you can wheelie your Kawasaki, you can almost wheelie anything because it's a 125. It's like a moped with gears, right? Like, so it's hard. They're like, if you can get that thing up with no horsepower, they're like, you could probably wheelie anything. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah. That's super cool. Super, super cool. The goal here is to gain you some more social media followers. That's what we want right now, because tell us what you've got coming up next and why we want to get you a social presence so that we can help you out.
Well, thank you for asking. It's amazing you actually want to help me out. So I was on a film. I'm going to make this long story short. I was on a film last year in Pittsburgh, and we were doing a car flip. And I don't know if it's called a pipe ramp, but it's literally flipping over a car. Mm-hmm. And I grew up in the Motor City up in Detroit, and my dad worked at Chrysler for 35 years. So I've always grown up with cars. I don't want to say maybe I'm like a car girl per se, but I've always been interested in cars. My dad always had all the new company cars coming in and out of the house. When he was changing the oil, my brother did not want to have anything to do with it. And I was the one that was like all in the engine with my dad, like wanted to learn. And so I do like and appreciate cars. So when I'm on set and I'm seeing this car flip, I was not driving the car. And that's where this idea came from. Most of the car gags in our business, and I say most because there are definitely a handful of women in the stunt world that do car flips, but it's far and few between. And I feel like, okay, why are all these jobs going to guys, right? Us women can do that just as well, if not better than the men. No offense, guys. I know you guys are awesome and everything, but come on, like let's hook the women up and give them some opportunities. So I found myself on set every day in Pittsburgh watching this prep for the car flip. Even if I wasn't working, I would get up, I'd leave my hotel, I'm like, I'm going to set. I want to just be a sponge and learn and see how it's prepped. And, you know, the stunt department works really closely with the special effects when there's a pipe ramp involved. And I was just literally just a sponge watching everything. And so at lunchtime, I was talking to the stunt guy that was actually doing the flip. And I asked him the same question. I said, so, you know, why do you think that 90% of these gags, we call them gag stunts, go to men? And he's like, you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, it is true. But he said, it's really because we have the experience. He goes, I've done 25 of these in my career. Now, to put you in the hot seat for your first time, not to say it's not going to happen, but it's rare because you're looking at, you know, as a producer and director, they're going, okay, so who's doing the pipe ramp? Oh, we've got this girl. Okay, cool. How many has she done? Yeah. None. Oh, all right. So that makes everyone a little bit nervous because it is a big stunt and it does cost a lot of money and there's a lot at stake. And I understand all of that. But it's like, well, you started somewhere. So how'd you get your first one? Like everyone has to get their first one under their belt. Yeah. And he's like, you know, he's been in the business a lot longer than me. And he said, it's different now. When I started off, there weren't as many stunt people in the business. The competition was less. You know, so he said, I just kind of started off that way. He said, now it's a lot harder. The market is saturated. There's filming everywhere now from, you know, back in the day, a lot of the filming was Los Angeles and New York. Now there's filming in Florida. There's filming in, you know, Atlanta and New Orleans, and it's kind of everywhere, Chicago. So it's all spread out, which means there's more people saturating the market, especially in the stunt world. So the opportunities are farther and fewer between. So I get this bright idea. I'm like, well, all right. If no one's going to give me an opportunity, and not to say that that's going to happen, but I don't want to wait around for 10 years for an opportunity that may never present itself. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to create my own opportunity. I'm going to flip my own damn car. Like, right? I mean, the problem with that, there's not a lot of problems because I'm going to do it. But, you know, the problem is you're funding it yourself, right? So no one's paying to do this. I'm not going to get paid, obviously, because I'm doing it myself. But I also have to fund the whole thing. So I've got to buy the roll cage. I've got to buy the car. I've got to pay the small crew to film it because, of course, I'm going to film this thing. Why would I not? Right? And I mean, listen, I could film it on my iPhone, but let's be honest. If I'm going to do this, like, let's go big or go home. And then then I need my gear. I need a fire suit and fire gloves and all of this stuff, you know, and my 5-point harness. And so that's kind of what started this Facebook post, because I kind of, you know, threw it around to the community and to some people. And the first question was, well, what's your social media following? And I'm like, seriously? Like, that's a question? And they're like, oh yeah, that's a question. That's a big deal. And I mean, we were talking about it earlier, like I've always dabbled in social media, but it's never been like my thing. I've never been like that person to like post everything. I just like whatever. But because I want to attract, you know, a possible sponsor to help me maybe with some of the gear and other things, I thought, okay, let's do this. So I put together that Facebook post that you saw and I kind of blasted it on Facebook, and my social media did blow up a little bit. I mean, we definitely need a little bit more, which is awesome that you're doing this for me. So, you know, a little bit here and a little bit there always helps. But so that's kind of what prompted the whole idea. And then I had to sell it to my husband. So there was that too. And he was cool with it. He's like, oh my God, were you kidding me? But he wasn't surprised. So I think we're going to film it in Michigan, which is my hometown, because I have a lot of friends there. And it's just, I like to film it in like, you know, in the Motor City. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah.
And then my parents could come out and watch it. And so because of COVID, it's definitely pushed back because we were supposed to do it this month. But with everything kind of obviously shut down and our world up in chaos, it's postponed a bit, which is fine. It gives me more time to get more followers and try to get the sponsorship and, you know, all of the planning and the prep.
So that's how they can help you is make sure and follow you on social media. So you've got your Instagram, which is, I'll let you tell.
So my Instagram handle is at Sarah Holden Stunts, and it's Sarah with no H. And I mostly post about behind the scenes stunts. I'll post a lot of my old stunts. I think I even posted my Sons of Anarchy, so you could see that on there. And the occasional kid one, but I don't flood it with the good stuff. It's mostly stunts. But yeah, if you guys could spread the word and follow me if you're on Instagram, I would really appreciate it. Because like I said, every little bit helps, and then it just makes a sponsor more attractive. Maybe someone will say, this is really cool, like a stunt woman's first car flip. I'd love to give her a fire suit, and of course I would promote their brand. I mean, that's how it works, right? We all kind of help each other out and promote each other and lift each other up, and that's what it's all about.
Collaborate, yeah. So if you out there know of anybody that would like to sponsor, or maybe yourself would like to sponsor, make sure and reach out as well, so that and reach out to me and I will connect you with Sarah if we have to. If you can't get in touch with her any other way, but I'm sure just start following her. So, okay, cool. So I figured you probably had some tomboy in you, the want to, you know, with the cars and all that. So that was going to be one of my questions to ask you, because I've got a daughter that I really thought would lean that direction too. She's very good at being the tomboy and wanting to do boy stuff and will hang with the boys and be a good, you know, guy friend. But then she's very girly and, you know, dresses up and likes to wear dresses.
Sounds like me.
Makeup and hair. Yeah. So I think it's just so cool so I guess I'm curious to know, you know, what got you into being a stunt woman? And I'm sure you've answered this 10 million times, but I want to hear it.
It is fine. I'm going to pretend like that was the first time I've ever been asked that question. So yeah, it's funny when people ask, because I never really thought of myself as a tomboy, but when someone asks you and then you start kind of going through the stages of your life, 100% I was a tomboy. I just never actually would have thought about it, but I didn't have a lot of girlfriends growing up. I remember there was a couple girls on my street, but I never really chose to play with them. I always was with the guys, and I have an older brother, so I was always like hanging out with him, and he was just, you know, beating me up and just like, you know, what older brother does. And I always wanted to play G.I. Joe with them and Legos, and I just never got into the doll stuff. But then I got into gymnastics. So gymnastics was kind of my first sport that I loved. And I always tell people who ask me, like, what could I do? You know, younger people that maybe want to get in the business. I always say gymnastics, you don't have to be this amazing gymnast. I am not an amazing gymnast. I never was an amazing gymnast. I was very mediocre, but I can still tumble today. Like even after having 2 kids, I'm tumbling. And and the air awareness that you get just from, do you know what I mean by air awareness? Sometimes I speak where,
I mean, in my head, I'm imagining, yes.
So air awareness is like, let's say you're on a trampoline, right? And you're jumping in the air. It's just like how you move your body. You're not looking like, you're not flailing around. You're not looking all clumsy and klutzy. It's like, you're just aware of how you are in the air. And that helps with like when we do high falls, like on a TV show, you see people falling off of buildings. Well, you got to have air awareness to do that. And I think you get a lot of that in gymnastics. You also get, I mean, flexibility. That's an easy one. You got to be flexible because we're falling downstairs and we're doing, you know, fight choreography and all this stuff that, you know, you need to be flexible. And also the coordination that you learned from gymnastics, you apply in the stunt world 100%. So anyway, so I did gymnastics for a while.
I would have never thought gymnastics. I mean, you're so right. I mean,
Right. I mean, people don't think about it. Now, I always tell people, if you line up 10 stunt people and you ask them how they got in, you'll probably get 10 different answers. Right.
Right.
So like I don't even know that my in was gymnastics, because I kind of dabbled in other stuff, and I'll get there. But some, dancers get into stunt work from their dance experience, martial artists, professional drivers, professional bikers, motocross. So, I mean, there's all these different skill sets, skydivers, that get into the business. So there's not like a certain thing that you need to have to get in, right? It's just a little bit of everything. So after gymnastics, then I got into competitive cheerleading. So again, you think, all right, well, a lot of people are like, that's not a sport. Oh, hell yes, it is.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it is a brutal sport. And I was a flyer. So they were throwing me up in the air again.
You were the tiny petite thing. I was the one at the bottom holding everybody up.
You were a base. Yeah. Well, you were my lifeline. I trusted you. So yeah, so I was, getting thrown up in the air again. The air awareness comes back into play. And a lot of times, you would fall. So, I mean, you got to be tough. If you were a cheerleader, you were tough. And you had to be fit, and that is 100% a sport. And then from there, I did softball. I was actually a pretty decent softball player, and that comes into play with stunt work, just because any type of athletic sport just prepares you. I mean, for just, again, the coordination and just staying fit, And then from softball, I ended up doing women's rugby. And I think women's rugby was the real kicker and subconscious thing that made me realize I could do stunt work. So I played women's rugby for 4 years. Do you know anything about that sport?
No. I mean, I've heard of rugby, but I can't say I've watched it.
Women's rugby is the most brutal sport out there. I mean, it's football without any pads, and it's full tackle. Full tackle. I was the smallest one out there. I was playing with these 5'10" to 6 foot beasts of women that were just slamming me to the ground. It was crazy. I played in Australia, and I played in Ireland, so we traveled a lot. And it was great. And so after that, I moved to Hollywood, and I wanted to be an actor. So throughout all of the sports that I just named, I was always doing theater, and that was really great. So I'm like, I think I want to try this acting thing. So, I moved to Los Angeles. No stunt world. I didn't even know that existed. This was just going to be an actor. And when I went out to be an actor, I realized, wow, there's like a million other people that look just like me that also want to be actors, right? Like, obviously it's a cutthroat business. Everyone wants to, whether it's, you want to be an actor, director, writer, whatever, you want to be in the business. And so I did acting for a couple years. It wasn't really working out for me, like hard to get an agent, had a couple of little roles. And the one role I got was in a movie called Beer Fest. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It was a comedy. It's a silly, silly comedy. Anyway, I was playing a German beer wench, and I had one line, okay? And it didn't even end up in the movie. It's on the cutting room floor. So that's fine. But it was an 18-hour shoot day, which is very typical in our business. And so when you're working and sitting around for 18 hours, you're basically talking to anyone who wants to listen to you. So I started talking to the guy sitting next to me. Well, come to find out, he was the stunt coordinator. And so I was asking him all the questions that you're about to ask me and that people ask me. What do you mean stunts? What do you do? How do you get into that? And so he kind of lit the light bulb, because he said, you're a good size. And he asked me what my background was. And I told him everything I just told you. And he goes, wow, I mean, you have everything that it takes. And on top of that, you have an acting background, which is fantastic, because back then and now, a lot of people will hire a stunt person to play their own little minor role, and then they do their own stunt. So it's saving the production money, because I don't have to hire an actor and then hire me to double that actor. Now you're paying two people, right? Yeah. So they said, you have an acting background. So, I mean, I can't tell you how many shows I have died on and played my own victim role. I mean, probably every show you've seen on TV, you're like, oh, you were on that, you died, you did that. So that was kind of my initial I was the stunt actor. And so that was really cool at first. So I was playing a lot of dead girls, but that's fine. I don't care. It all pays the same. Dead, alive, I don't care.
But that's so cool that, I mean, it's so funny, how things kind of line up in your life and what you're doing. And at that time, you know, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be different from everybody else in that line of work? And
if you asked me 20 years ago, do you think you'll be a professional stunt woman? I'd be like, what are you even talking about? Like, I would be happy to even try to be an actor in LA. Like the fact that I'm working on big movie sets and TV, I still have to pinch myself, even though I've been doing it 11 years. It's so awesome. And I mean, it is crazy how you get there. And I mean, everything leads you to it. Like, right. Every part of your life leads to where you're going to be, if you know it or not. So it's been a great ride for sure.
And we were talking about your husband and him, you know, in the acting world, and he's like, oh, whatever, you know, he's a techie guy. And I'm the same way. I look at things as like, you know, when I see a movie, I don't just see the people on the screen. I know there's so many things going on in the background. There's so many people involved, and they each have their own role to make it all work. And, you know, I think a lot of people get wrapped up in just what they're seeing and, oh, this actor and this actress. And it's like, what about everybody else that?
Oh yeah. The entire crew that works tirelessly and they're just, I mean, my husband won't even watch movies with me anymore, honestly, because especially an action movie, because I'll be like, oh my God, that was a total stunt. Oh my God, that's not it. Oh my God, that's my friend Joe. Joe Doubleton. He's like, will you shut up? He's like, I can't even watch this movie. So he won't. He like really won't watch movies with me anymore because I can't watch a movie without picking it apart because I know
that's your life. Yeah.
Together. And half the time I know my friends did that badass stunt, and then I want to rewind it. And I'm like, oh my God, I wonder, were they harnessed? Were they wearing leg cuffs? What were they? And he's like, I just can't anymore. So yeah, it's kind of funny. But.
That's so cool. I mean, more awareness out there that, you know, for the folks that are behind the scenes and doing it.
Absolutely.
They should be just as known and announced as anybody else.
Well, I mean, look at us. I mean, I don't know if you know this, but the stunt community, we do not have an Oscar category. And we've been fighting for an Oscar category for, I think, 25 years. You know, you think about the Oscars. I don't know if you even watch these, but there's every category: film editing, hair, makeup, all of these very important, right? Sound editing, foreign films. I mean, the list goes on. Why is there not one for stunts? There is literally stunts in 95% of every movie. Even if it's not an action movie, there is some aspect of a stunt. It might be a slip on a banana peel type of thing, right? Mm-hmm. But there's still a stunt performer, and there's still a stunt coordinator, and it was still designed for the movie. How is there not? Anyway, don't get me started on this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Everybody out there that's watching, what can we do?
It's mind-boggling to me. So we've been fighting. Hopefully one of these days it will happen.
Yeah, that's crazy. I had no idea. I just assumed.
I know. Yeah.
Huh. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, guys.
It's not fair.
Not fair. It's not fair. Life's not fair. To all the women out there, I think that just especially now during, you know, the whole Me Too, and I mean, I know that wave kind of passed, but like, I just feel like instead of women that are like more about the competition, I mean, there's a lot of competition in the stunt world. I go out for a million auditions and I don't get a million of them, right? But I know that my friend so-and-so is going to get it, and I congratulate them and lift them up. And I just feel like with this car flip, I would love to have more women supporters, because that's what it's about. It's like, hey, listen, I want to do this because I want to prove that women deserve these spots.
Women can do it too.
And women can do it. And if I could, if this, you know, I'm going to be doing this thing, but I would love for this to obviously lead to more car flips for me, right? That's the ultimate goal. I'd like professional jobs where I'm actually getting paid and not paying to do it. Yeah. But, you know, when I was selling my husband on the idea, I said, you know what though, Jason, if I do this thing and I never get one job out of it, it will still be a win-win for me for a couple of reasons. Number one, I put myself out there. I put it all together. I produce something. So I'm kind of wearing a lot of hats. I'm going to be the stunt girl, the stunt driver. I'm going to be producing it. I'm going to be, you know, I will have a director. But anyway, I'll be wearing more hats. So it's
Yeah.
a learning experience. And it's like, I'm also teaching my kids, listen, there's nothing that you can't do if you put in the effort and the work, right? So
Right.
that's what I'm trying to, I mean, I know I have young kids and I don't think they really understand. They know that mommy goes to work and falls and puts wigs on. Like that's the extent of like what they think that I do, which is super cute. But I mean, you know, when they're older and I have this awesome piece of footage and I can say, listen, this is why mommy did this.
Well, they're absorbing, they're soaking that up. I mean, you know, I talk to my kids and it's so cute. I mean, they're 17 and 19 now, and they're just, Mom, you're so badass, man. You know,
I
all
love
these years
that.
and all the things that you've done, and they remember. I mean, they remember all of it. So yeah, I mean, you're constantly, you know, an influence on your kids, and
Yeah. Well, like my husband, my son, he's up doing quiet reading time right now. I said, listen, I'm setting the timer. You have to stay in there. We're doing quiet reading time. He goes, why, mommy? What are you doing? And I said, well, I'm doing an interview. And he said, oh, for something stunty. I said, actually, yeah, it is. And so you're right. Like they are obviously always, you know, absorbing, but you know, I just want to be, I would like to motivate other stunt girls who think, gosh, I'm never going to be able to do that stunt. Well, you know what? Create your own opportunity and maybe you can, right? Because there's no worst case scenario in this thing. Like, I guess the worst case is that I get hurt. So there is always that. But I'm having a, you know, an awesome safety team come out and we're going to do this whole thing completely professional and as safe as we can do it. And the good thing is I'm petite, so I'm, you know, I can kind of get in there and I'm having a roll cage built into the car and I'm going to be learning about that. Like this whole process is going to be a very big learning experience for me because I've never done it before. So, yeah. I mean, knowledge is power, right? So, I mean, you just keep learning and.
Yeah. So have you reached out to anybody, any women out there that, like, I'm thinking of Dana Patrick, is that her name?
Danica.
Danica.
You know, I haven't, and I never actually thought about that. Maybe that would be something. Yeah, maybe I could borrow her fire suit. I'd be like, I'm in Danica Patrick's fire suit. Now, now my wheels are turning.
Yeah. So, you know, who else is out there that maybe they're in a different profession, but they're a woman in that profession and that would want, you know, be part
100%.
of it.
I mean, yeah, Danica's not doing pipe ramps and all that, but I mean, she's a professional driver. Absolutely. Yeah. Like that would be a cool thing to just
anybody out there know her or anybody else?
Yeah, if anyone has any connections to Danica, I mean, I would love to like reach out and say, hey, this is what I do. This is the same thing that you read on my Facebook post. And that's the cool thing. I was just telling somebody, I'm like, if you know, we all have ideas and dreams and passions, right? Everybody has them. If you keep them inside and you don't share them, I mean, are they going to happen? Maybe. But I just found out by doing this one little project, I put myself out there. 100%, right? And so all of this is coming back. I mean, my Instagram blew up. I'm talking to you now. I've done 5 podcasts the last couple of months, like because I put myself out there. And so I just feel like if you put your message out there, people want to help. They really do. And they're excited. And that's so motivating and inspiring for me, especially with this project. And it's been a lot of moms that have been like, go mama, do it, get it, girl, you know?
Yeah, you gotta ask. I mean, we don't know what you want, what you need until you ask. Haley Deegan? Deegan?
Yeah, she's from the Deegan family. Her dad was a motocross racer and stunter out of California. She drives NASCARs now.
Okay.
That would be another one to reach out. She's sponsored by like Monster. But they're like a whole family of like stunt dirt
I feel
drivers.
like I've heard of them. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's been around for a long time. So, but the whole family's into that stuff. So that'd be another good one. And they're all over social media.
Cool.
So, MotoVlogging, have you heard of that before?
I have. I don't know much about it, but I have heard of it.
And that's what Sunny and I do. So, you know, we have helmets that we wear. He's got a GoPro. I'm going to get me one soon too, because I'm tired. He gets to do all the stuff. And I'm like, I want to do my own thing too. So in our helmets, we can talk back and forth and record while we're riding and do stories. Yeah. So there's a lot of women out there that do that too. And they have a following. and I know that they would definitely get, you know, behind you and what you're doing.
Okay.
And so if you start, when you're on Instagram, if you start using a hashtag called support MVC, which stands for MotoVlog Community.
MVC.
Got
it.
And yeah, the Dirty Deeds put that together, and it's just the whole motovlogging community. It's everybody together and helping each other out. So there's men and women, but it's cool because I'm seeing a lot of, you know, the women too. I'm meeting a lot of the badass women that are riding and
that is cool.
and doing videos and stuff too. So
awesome. And now you said you're in Florida, right?
I am.
What part of Florida are you in?
Southwest Florida, the Gulf side, just south of Tampa, Fort Myers, Naples, Sanibel.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of any of those.
No, I've been to Florida a ton. My great aunt lives in Boynton Beach. But I did Daytona every year. That was our thing from Michigan down. We would drive to, actually it was New Smyrna. We would go to New Smyrna Beach like every year. Have you heard of that? It's by Daytona or Tampa. No.
On the other side.
Okay, yeah, there you go. On the other side.
On the other side.
Yeah.
I haven't made it there yet. I will eventually. I mean, living in Florida, it's, you know, like you're on vacation all the time. I love it.
That's awesome.
We're like, okay, where do we ride to now? I mean, we can ride clear on the other coast and, you know, be there in 3 hours. So, yeah.
Now, do your kids ride as well?
So they ride with us. The 17-year-old, as soon as she turned 16, she was begging to get, you know, her motorcycle license, and we said, no, we want you to be 18. We want you 2 years of driving, defensive driving.
Sure.
I could definitely see her getting her own bike. The other one, no interest in getting her license or anything. She's my bookworm. We call her Nerdy Badger. And she'll ride on the back, you know, for an hour or so, and then she's like, my butt's hurting. So
yeah, she's over it.
Yeah. But I did get my mom, she's 60, she turned 65 or around 65. She is on a Can-Am Spider, the ones that have the 2 wheels in the front and the one in the back.
Oh, yeah.
So she can't, with her back and her knees and stuff, there's no way she could hold up a motorcycle. And so she looked at trikes and at these Can-Am Spiders, and she really liked the Can-Am Spiders. They're really fast. They're like getting on a go, kind of like a 4-wheeler, 3-wheeler or something.
That is awesome.
Take off. Yeah. So, and she's like, you guys aren't going to make fun of me, are you? Because I'm not on a Harley riding with you. And we're like, no, absolutely not. Sunny's just like, you just got to keep up.
The fact that she's on that is awesome. How cool.
Yeah. Dad's on a Harley. So yeah, we're all riding all the time, and being down here, we can ride, you know, often. So
absolutely.
Yeah. So definitely all about, you know, girl power, and it doesn't matter how old you are, or, you know, if you want to ride and it's on your bucket list, you know, make it happen. I knew, you know, as a young kid that I would always eventually get my license. Now, I enjoyed riding with Sunny. I didn't mind being on the back. That was fun too. But I just knew at some point in time, you know, I'd want to get my own license and do my own things.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to get my next bike because I know it will happen. And it will actually be a bike. Not that my Kawasaki isn't, but I mean, it's just so small that I would love to maybe get the Honda Rebel. I think that'd be like the next one for me that I feel, because I know it sits so low. How tall are you?
Oh, girl, I'm almost 6 foot.
Okay, like so you have no idea what it's like. You have no idea. Like, every bike I'm on, if I'm on my tiptoes, at this point in my riding, you know, career or whatever, I just don't feel comfortable. With me on my tiptoes. I need that.
Yeah, no, you do.
Foot.
I mean, you got 2 wheels between your legs. I mean, you got to be able to. Yeah, Sunny's saying Softail Slim is what he put a lot of women riders on. So if you haven't checked out a Softail Slim,
hold on 1 second. Yes, buddy.
Hey, come say hi to me.
Hi.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
This is Tyler.
I read 13 books.
You read 18 books? Here, come here.
No, 13.
Oh, 13 books?
Yeah.
13 books.
Say hi.
Oh,
yeah.
Hey. So you in there reading away with your sister?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be a stunt man when you grow up?
No.
No. I bet that changes. Are you gonna be like daddy? Are you gonna be like mommy?
I like both of them.
Yeah, a good mix of them. Good answer, kiddo.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
Geologist.
Oh, really?
A rock collector, and I discover rocks.
Wow.
That's awesome, buddy.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Were you reading a lot of books about rocks lately?
I have a couple of books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a good imagination?
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet you do.
All
What
right,
does
bud.
this shirt say?
What does it say? Oh, Under Armour.
Under Armour?
Under Armour.
Here, Mama.
Okay, buddy. I'll be off in a minute, okay? Kira's sleeping, right? Yeah, you can watch a little TV.
Where?
Take this room.
All right, I'll turn it
All right.
down.
Oh,
Okay, sorry.
No, you're fine.
I knew if I didn't answer that, he was just going to, because I locked it. I locked the door. Oh, my God. It's like sometimes the only time I get my free time is when I go to the bathroom. Do you remember those days?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Oh, my God.
But honey, yeah, my kid's still following me to the bathroom.
I knew you were going to say that. You're going to be like, yeah, it doesn't change.
I'm like, I literally have to, like, I'm going to the bathroom. No, I don't need any company.
I sent you something. I don't know if you saw it yet, but I was meaning to send it to you earlier in the week because I wanted you to get a feel for my personality. And of course I forgot because I just forget everything. So I sent it just today, this morning, and it's a YouTube video that I made, and it's called, well, I actually made two of them. I'll send you the other one. This one is just just a breakdown of our quarantine life. You gotta watch it. It's only 2 minutes, but
Yeah.
You'll be able to relate. Not now, maybe now. I don't know. You say your kids following you in your bathroom, so maybe you'll relate to it. But yeah, I put it together and I sent it to my agents. I'm like, just because you guys have been asking how we're doing, this is how we're doing, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome, sweetie. It's good to meet you.
Yeah, is Sonny back there? Bye, Sonny.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you.
He's waving.
Bye.
So good luck to you. We'll definitely be following you, and yeah, try to help
Awesome.
out on our end.
Absolutely, and keep in touch, and I will tag you as well, and we'll just help each other out. But keep in touch for sure.
All right, sounds good.
Take care. Bye, guys.
Bye.